Okay. 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 We're just about a couple lines below the middle of the second paragraph on Yud Dalet. The line begins Kuli, which we already started last night. We're speaking about Rotzu v'Shuv, and we're saying that Rotzu and Shuv are represented by the two midas of Chesed and Gvura and Ahava v'Yira. We started discussing the union from Ahava. And he explains that Ahava is representative of the Kiruv, of the special closeness and relationship that is given to him. As a result of that elicits by him an opening a kiruv, a special closeness and ahava, a drawing. This is generally speaking, we're talking about in human terms. Discussed, quite in extensive details. Now, come Veda, which we also studied yesterday. The line begins Kuli the Kmeikein Hu Veda. The Kmeikein Hu Veda, but the similar union is in Avodah. Avodah Hashem. The Kasher Mizboinen Behakiruv de Elokus El Ho'ilumeis. That when one reflects on the kiruv of Elokus to Eilumis. Kiruv means again the not just the gift of the benefit, but the kiruv, the special closeness. Where do we see the kiruv of Elokus and Eilumis? Bebechinas hislapshus. In a hislapshus manner, which we also discussed last night. Lahachayoisam, and the hislapshus is in order that they should actually get chayus, not just a presence, a creation, but actual chayus, which means that the lukus actually is imbued in the nivroim in a manner that the nivro can actually sense chayus eliki. And this is the hislapshus element. That is, it requires that the lakus should reduce itself to the point where it is in proximity to world. And yet, of course, this is a lakus, and thus world can actually appreciate that the aspect of Elokus, and as a result of that, there is chayas. So when one is misboine, reflects on this phenomenon that Elokus is given to him into the extent where it is able to recognize it to the point where it gives him chayas. And he reflects further. Dim heyoy shehoelakus eina bi'erach ha'olam klal. That although that the elokus eina bi'erach ha'olam is not in proximity to worlds at all. The loy be'erach of elokus and worlds, everybody, we all kind of recognize it, accept it, and so forth. But specifically, elokus is an essence, is an essential reality, an essential truth. Meaning that it is anything in elokus represents the essential reality of that thing, not how it functions, not as a the effect of its composition. In the world, there is nothing that is of essence. Like we're saying, a table is not just a table. In order to be a table, it has to have a whole structure of a board and legs, and it has to be made to stand and made to hold together. All of these things, these are the composite elements that represent the concept of a table. But the concept of a table is a real concept. This is something which we have discussed many times. This is something which actually represents a neshama element in the human being. Thus, the neshama element, the way it is in the neshama in the human being, and the way it comes out in the world, as a precarious and inadvertent structure that inadvertently represents a table. This is shalei b'erech. There's no similarity between them, between the way it is in the nefesh and the way it is in the world. And the same thing is in elokus. Elokus and world are shalei b'erech. Like the Rambam says, and we always quoted last night a lot, that the Ayin of elokus is motzui rishin. Motzui rishin means that it is true in and of itself. World, everything in world is come into being. That means it does not have an essential presence. So there shall be erech. And yet still, Nisam ha'oir ha'eleki, the oir eleki was reduced. And it infused itself in them, in the world, to give them an element of chayus. Like we say, what is chayus? We have the common illustration that we use, that the finger essentially what we're looking at is a body, and a body can be damaged. It can have a cut, and if it's cut, it's cut. It's finished. It's no longer a healthy finger. And then you sew it on, or you cover it, whatever it is, and it heals to the point where you can't even recognize it at the cut. because there's an element in the finger that is immune to the cut, that is invulnerable. What is invulnerable? Something that is composed of multiple pieces is vulnerable to decomposition of these multiple pieces. Something that is not vulnerable means that it is not a composite of multiple pieces. This is the Chayes HaNefesh. Now this Chayes HaNefesh what is this Chayes HaNefesh represent? It represents an Elokee element, a godly element, a godly truth. How does this godly truth relate to the finger, to a physical finger? And it has to relate to a physical finger, because we see that it causes the finger to heal exactly the way this finger is supposed to heal, this particular finger. It does not heal the way some other part of the body would heal. It does not have the chayes the way it is in some other part. Exactly the way it is in the finger. Like we say, in the hand there is the koyach hatnuah. Koyach hatnuah is exclusively in the hand, which means that the chayes elokee, which is not, as you said, which is not a composite, which is not, does not have the bodily definition limits, which is an essential truth. That essential truth is brought down in such a limited fashion where you can only identify one element in this Chayes Elokee, and that is the Koyach HaTnuah. That is the level where the Chayes Elokee can be mislabish in the hand. If it were something greater than that, it would not be mislabish in the hand. Like we have when a person is preoccupied with a supreme, a spiritual thought, he's not capable at that time to do something menial, something simple.
Something what?
Something simple.
Simple.
A moil once asked the Rebbe Rashabtake, what should be the kavanah when he does the milah? What kavanah should he have when he has the milah? So the Rebbe said the kavanah should be that he should cut it off well, and it should be all in a proper, perfect way. That should be his kavanah. And if he has a kavanah other than that, who knows what kind of milah it's going to be? Not that in something. And that, this something, this brings, this is what chayus in the goof is. And we said it brings to the goof an element of essence, that's chayus. And that chayus is brought down in such a level that the goof itself can also relate to
it. This is following on last night to do with the mashpia, that he reaches out to the Talmud.
Yeah, well, that was in the Moshe.
And this is the nimshal. I think I'm looking at it like, I think that I'm looking sometimes, I think I'm having a problem seeing the the Mashpia Talmud in the same way as this, that the Chais is mitzamtzam, that's reduced into things of the world. I could follow the Mashpia Mushpa, but here it seems to me like, sometimes the wind blows hard, sometimes it blows softly and turns a leaf, sometimes it blows hard and blows down a house. I don't feel the same way the Mashpia we had yesterday. He goes down to the level of the Talmud and addresses him there.
And sometimes the Mashpia bangs on the table and says to the Talmud, you better shape up.
Right.
How was that?
No, how's that? That's like blowing hard. But there the whole Indian is, I guess by that case I was feeling the way the Mashpia attends to the Talmud. Here the way Elokus is attending to the world, I don't get a sense of that. I'm just trying to get a sense of, sometimes things are big, sometimes they're very fine. I think I'm missing this point.
No, you're not. You're oversimplifying it. You think you understand how Elokus really gives chayes to the world.
That's it. I have no idea.
All we understand is one thing, that it is misamsim to the point where the world actually has a sense of life.
But that statement, I'm not getting that he is with some sense, so the world gets a sense of.
Okay. All right. Do we have day and night?
Yeah.
Is day and night something in Atzilus or something in our physical world?
It's in our world.
Okay. Does our world warrant that kind of a phenomenon, day and night?
Does it warrant it?
Yeah.
Do we merit this kind of?
Does it relate to it? This is something which is it a worldly thing? Is it a physical thing?
Is day and night a physical thing?
Yeah.
No.
The whole concept is not physical.
Right.
And yet, then Elokus came down to the point where it presents that super union on a physical level.
Uh-huh.
To the extent that if you want to deny that this is godly, you could. You say, no, this is an accident.
This is the movement of the planet. You could deny it. Uh-huh. And this is the Nimshal, this is the way Hashem is attending to the world, yeah?
What are you trying to say? What's the additional point? Is this a Nimshal?
I'm thinking about which are we... It seemed like the avoider was to sense this, what has just been explained, and therefore have a feeling of reciprocity, like the Talmud
No, not
feels
reciprocity. So you spoke yesterday. It's not reciprocity.
or a real sense, rather
real
than
sense of
reciprocity,
connection.
a person has evoked in him a real sense of Ava, yeah?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And with the day and night is real. The point there that it's real, it's not real in the sense it's a human convention, but it's real like it's coming from him. It's real that he's presenting this.
Right. It gives the world a sense of real chayus, life.
That's a very perceptive, as opposed to saying this is the context in which we live. It's a very different appreciation of what is.
Okay.
What it is. You know?
Okay. So we learn something.
Day by day.
So as I pointed out yesterday, I want to point out again. the emphasis over here is hislapshus lahachayoisam. Nisamtum oirokim mislabish betoichom lahachayoisam. Lahachayoisam means to give them a presence. But what kind of presence? A godly a level of presence. Of chayus level. What is chayus? Okay, put it again, hislabish in oilamus, in the way, at the lowest level. So we pointed out, if you get a cut in the finger is cut. But the chayus is not cut, so that you know it will heal and will be restored back to perfect health. This inherent reality that you recognize in the world, this is chayus. This is chayus eliki. Coming back to the marshal of day and night. Now the fact that the sun rises and the sun sets, this is a physical thing. There's nothing compelling about it. For all you know, it can go in a different direction. There's absolutely nothing to say, oh, yeah, I know it's going to rise tomorrow. But I know that tomorrow is going to be day and night. That I know for sure. Because that's part of the chayes of the world. Part of the reality of the world. So you have to be mevarer all the scientific impurities that have been injected. But that's the human perception. The Rebbe speaks, and the Frierdiker Rebbe says, one who reflects on the whole world, it's like a huge body that represents a living entity.
The Rebbe said that?
Yeah.
It's not original, but I mean, he's not the only one who said it. Confirms it.
It's like a living entity. And what is the meaning of a living entity? The meaning of a living entity, as I pointed out just a moment ago, is not its proper coordination. A car is also coordinated. The living entity element is that, yes, that's the reality, the life element, that's the reality of it, not its coordination. Coordination is, one can say it's accidental. That is the chayes. And it was nishamtim to the extent where the chayes becomes part and parcel of the world itself.
What do you mean when you say the coordination could be accidental? It could be termed accidental. What do you mean by that?
I said before, the sun rises, the sun sets. This is a physical thing. There's nothing
Is there
compelling
such a
about
thing
it.
as something accidental? Is there
No,
something?
you're not listening.
Okay.
It's not compelling by observation. There's nothing real in it. Either it happens or it doesn't happen. Like the finger is healthy, right? But massively it can be cut. God forbid. What's compelling in the person is not the physical structure. It's the chayes of it. What's compelling in the world is the chayes of it. And since we spent so much time on this, we also always point out that we may be sitting quite comfortably, quite calmly on our chairs, which are supported by a floor, which are supported by beams, which are supported by the wall, which are supported by by the foundation, supported by the earth. But really, that's not that's not the reality that we rely on, that gives us a sense of calm.
It's the inner chayus.
Yeah, the reality is that the earth is floating in blima. There's a reality to it. That is the sense of reality.
That it's floating in nothing.
Yeah. That is being supported by Koyach HaLeki. This is the way it is. This is the way Abishah wants it. That's the way it is.
And that's more reassuring than the solidity of the earth.
That's more reassuring. That's more real.
More real than the earth itself.
Of course. Because that can change.
Okay.
That's all. That's the Keli.
Okay, what's the Keli?
The structure is the Keli.
That points to the actual...
Doesn't point to anything. It is the Keli by which the highest expression. So what is the finger? It's the Keli for the highest HaNefesh. Why did he Keli? Because he wanted to have it on the lowest possible level. But essentially, what is functional is the highest, not the Keli.
The Keli doesn't function. I thought we usually talk about the functionality of the world at a lower level, and that's like that would be like the Keli, no?
So I'm explaining the function. I don't know. I'll be listening here. The Keli is the sun rotating on the earth. That is not the reality. The reality is day and night. That's the creation. That reality comes through the Keli.
And does the Keli become a partner with partner?
Does the Keli become what?
A partner to that Chayus. Because the Chayus wouldn't be able to do the mitzvot, through mitzvot to be. So doesn't the body becomes a...
Okay, let's look at it. Okay. So this is the pshat that the Ayin Chayus Elokei is mislabish in the world, lahachayosim, to give them chayus, to give them a real sense of a godly presence. That's what lahachayosim. And that is through the tzimtzum element. And this tzimtzum element represents a special affinity, a special kiruv, special consideration. Because inside the Lakus itself, it is on a much higher level. This is the whole phenomenon of it. וכמי שכוסו, ואתו מחייס כולם, as the Pasuk says, ואתו מחייס כולם. You, a mechaya, give chayos to all of them. Again, chayos means a sense of godly truth. Shebechol nivro v'nivro mislabesh hu'oir hu'eleki l'hachayois. Which simply states that's kulam, that in every nivro there is oir eleki l'hachayois mislabesh oir eleki. The oir eleki imbues itself at its particular level. To give it a sense of life. And again, a sense of life means that it has a certain sense of reality. Okay, a car is also a composite and it works, but it has no chayis, has no sense of reality. There's absolutely nothing guaranteeing that the car is going to work tomorrow. There is nothing There's no inherent truth in this car that makes it work. It's put together in a certain way and it works. But there's nothing compelling that this gear should actually move in the right place in the right time. Only because of coordination, not because of an inherent intent. The car has no intent in chayes. And the car doesn't sense if anything, if it's being directed in the wrong way. If a person makes a very sharp turn, like sometimes you see a car, the front wheels are completely broken off the axle. The person makes a very sharp turn. The car is not going to complain. It's going to go along. Except it's just going to crack. Okay. This is it for this morning. And as far as Sunday morning is concerned, I couldn't make yet a decision. Very likely I have a class Sunday morning, but it's possible that I'll have to leave earlier. Okay, so have a good day.
Good morning to everyone.
Cool.
Ya nam na